Had night. Once we met up with Sally's clone, we went home together. Glenda, who had been in his custody, woke up as well and shouted upon seeing Hinata. We were not in some interrogation chamber, but a normal reception hall. Benimaru and Sally stood guard beside me, and Hinata was there too. Shuna prepared some tea for us to drink while we interrogated her. Long time no see, Glenda, you seem well. Hinata spoke first as she greeted Glenda with a cold eye. She was, as usual, merciless against her enemies. Glenda was rather nervous, but she quickly regained her cool. Looks like I'm done for, then. Kill me if you must. When a spy is captured, it always ends up like that, one way or another. She still managed to say something like that without shame. Silence. You shall only answer Rimuru-sama's questions. Sally pointedly said without any trace of sympathy. Rimuru-sama, shall I cut off this woman's limbs as punishment to make her behave better? Please don't. Sally was really going to do that. No, even though we have healing potions. I see, so you are saying that we should make her feel pain a couple of times. I didn't know that's... No. I wanted to say that we shouldn't overdo it even with the healing potions. Seriously, could you not? Even though Shuna was agreeing with a smile, Hinata was eyeing me hard. I didn't intend to do that kind of thing to a woman. Moreover, Glenda didn't seem so stubborn as to not reveal anything. Perhaps with negotiation, we could get her to reveal the truth. Then, Glenda-san. Nice to meet you, I suppose. I'm Demon Lord Rimuru. Hello. I am Glenda. Subordinate to Hinata-sama over there, one of the 3 martial sages. Glenda seemed to understand that there was no use retorting to Sally or trying to negotiate. Perhaps she felt it would just be better to answer my questions, starting off straightforward by introducing herself. Glenda knew Diablo, so I figured that she must have escaped knowing she wouldn't win. Even among those people who vigorously asked for their lives to be taken, few earnestly wished to die. I was sure that she still had a strong will to survive. I was also curious about why Glenda betrayed Hinata. Even if she didn't reveal the identity of the employer behind this assassination, she might reveal some other information. In any case, I didn't know the extent to which she would come clean, so let's just ask as many things as we could. After settling down with that idea, I posed the first question in a calm tone. You were going to assassinate Prince Elric, is that correct? Yes. You were going to create the illusion that it was my doing to chase us out of the Western nations, is that why? Perhaps. I didn't ask for the reasons. Someone just ordered me to do that. I see, she didn't seem to be lying. Can I ask the next questions? Hinata's question made Glenda tense up nervously. What are you going to ask? I put you in charge of the business hub cities, gave you the freedom of operating in an environment where you wouldn't be bound, and told you not to trust words of merchants easily. But you were already bribed at that point, weren't you? No comment. You were going to betray us from the start, weren't you? Was it from someone's order? No comment. I figured that your employer is probably also running the council behind the scenes, so what's his true identity? I have been on to you for some time. When the council took action, sometimes, it seemed as though they knew the plans of the Western Holy Church. Obviously, there was a traitor, and you were the most suspicious. I was waiting for an opportunity to take care of you. If you are willing to tell me who your employer is, I may lighten your sentence. Didn't I just say? No comment. Is that so? Then let me ask you this one last thing, do you believe in Luminous-sama? Tisk, there's no such thing as God in this world. As opposed to believing that, you might as well believe in money. The next second, Hinata unsheathed her rapier. A sharp clang rang out as my sword stopped her rapier. Hold on, Hinata. Not her neck. Are you not just interrogating, but actually trying to kill her? That's not what I have in mind. Liar. I can see the bloodlust burning in your eyes. Seriously, I couldn't be careless for 1 second. Right now, all Hinata wanted was to kill her. Thankfully, I was on guard and able to react, or we could have lost a valuable source of information. Don't worry, Rimuru-sama, I can use her to test my resurrection magic. Shuna said with a smile. Right, Rimuru. I can also use the god's miracle resurrection. There is no problem at all. I couldn't tell if this was all an act or not. After Shuna, even Hinata said something that outrageous. I suppose it was fine to kill, if you could revive her, but it just didn't sit right with me. That's how I felt, but to be honest, I was willing to let them go ahead and do it. Anyway, Hinata, let me handle this for a bit. Time to switch out the contestant. This was not gonna end well if I were to let it continue. For now, Hinata needed to take a chill pill. And so, it was my turn again. Come on, Wisdom King Raphael-san, it is time for you to shine. Understood. Raphael-san readily agreed. I began to quote Raphael-san's words verbatim. It is futile to ask a professional hitman like yourself to divulge information. Therefore, you merely need to listen to what I have to say. Oh, I see. If we said something to shake her confidence, we could derive some information from her body language. Try to keep up your poker face. Ha. Don't look down to me like that, it goes without saying. Glenda accepted the challenge. So, who's gonna be the winner of this contest? I thought to myself, as if I were part of the audience. Unique skills are often etched onto one's soul, you are no exception. Your skill is deeply imprinted upon it. Ha, that's the first time I've heard of that, so what? During the meeting just now, many counselors were corrupted by their desire. Oh. Those desires were forcibly implanted. Some skills can have an influence on one's soul, so I assume they must have been affected. Glenda, you were also affected. What do you mean? Luckily you had your unique skill protecting your soul, so it wasn't corrupted completely. She probably couldn't deny what I said. Glenda glared at me silently. In fact, that was the first time I heard about it, as well. But even for such an impressive unique skill, there are still people who can tell its excess, tense. You mean like the appraisal eye? Yeah, like Demon Lord Melum's notorious dragon eyes. I don't know how it actually works, but wasn't there a rumor that Demon Lord Melum can't see through everything? It isn't far from the truth. With a mere glance, Melum can tell what type of skills her opponent has. That was true. Though, that said, she couldn't reveal the details of skills if her opponent didn't activate them. She could, nonetheless, still tell the strength of her opponent's skills, and identify whether it was an extra skill or unique skill. But when a single person possessed more than 2 unique skills, it became hard to discern whether you were dealing with one extremely powerful unique skill, or multiple. The details seemed to be more difficult to obtain. I had similar skills myself. The accuracy of my analyze and assess had increased, and now I could vaguely read my opponent's skills. Furthermore, I also learned off ways to counter this and keep mine hidden. It was like how Guy Crimson disguised his magical capacity. When I met Guy, I thought that there was no need to actively conceal skills that I wasn't currently using. But that was not the case at all. A trained analyze and assess could discover what skills you had. In retrospect, I was lucky. With my 4 ultimate skills back then, Guy probably saw me as a rival that should not be underestimated. I could not let Wisdom King Raphael be known to the public. I must act cautiously in the future. I had thought it was impossible to hide your skills, when in fact, it could be done. With enough practice, I seemed to be able to full analytical skills. Even though it wasn't perfect yet, after experimenting with many things, this was the conclusion. What are you on about? I do have a unique skill. So how is it that, thanks to it, I haven't been corrupted by desire? I had paused for a second, when Glenda asked anxiously. She probably couldn't help but ask, after hearing that she had been under the influence of desire. I wanted to answer her quickly, but Raphael's explanation was a bit too difficult. It was taking some time to digest the information before regurgitating it. Proposal. Activate thought acceleration. Yes, no. I forgot this was available. I wished I had used that from the beginning. I quietly chose, yes. From here on out, we moved on to the speed round with Glenda. Whether you have been corrupted by desire or not, is none of my business, but there's one thing I can say for sure from this. Your employer has a very powerful unique skill. Am I correct? No comment. Even though I want to say this, I have to admit that you are correct. Thank you. Then let us continue. There was a guy who was corrupted by desire during the nation founding festival as well. That man's name was Guy. He was defeated by Shuna today. Only a few of the merchants were affected, while the rest of the guests remained fine. In order to spread the influence to multiple individuals, I figured the probability of the caster being present in close proximity was very high. It may be a different case for someone as completely corrupted as Guy, but as the distance increased, the effect of the skill would weaken. Masayuki's skill was very strong too. However, it had a synergistic effect mostly due to the power of the rumor mill. From the basis of his skill, rumors spread his influence further even without his notice. However, the effect of desire purely relied on the power of the skill. You could probably intensify the influence with the clever use of sophistry and the like. To put it simply, it was highly likely that this individual had attended the nation founding festival. This did make a lot of sense. In this way, I could only think of one suspect. I had found the individual suspicious for some time and had asked Saoi to investigate. Maribel Rosso, have you heard of the name? Raphael Sanshur was straight to the point. It picked out the name directly from Saoi's investigation report. Seemingly trying to conceal information till the bitter end, this was the only reaction Glenda made. It must have meant that she knew something. My analyze and assess is pretty good. Not only can I detect skills, I can also see when someone is trying to hide something. Plus, I sensed an unusual presence during the nation founding festival. And one of them was this young girl called Maribel. Glenda's face looked worse as she listened to my words. Cold sweat seemed to be dripping down her cheeks, or was it just normal sweat? Either way, Glenda looked very nervous. How did you? You said Maribel Rosso. Hinata interjected once more, cutting off Glenda. Rosso, it must be the Rosso family. So that's how it was. Normally, she would have been mad after I told her not to speak. Yet from her expression, that didn't seem to be the case. After all, the line "all of the mysteries have been solved" was written on Hinata's face. Besides, it was obvious from Glenda's attitude that something was amiss. Granbel Rosso. He is the progenitor of the Rosso family. He was a great man that used to be a hero. Glenda, surely you knew this as well, that the true identity of the leader of the 7 luminary clerics, the Sun Sage, was Granbel. As expected, it looked like Hinata had arrived at the truth. Her words have revealed the people behind this whole ordeal and their specific role in the matter. You meant the 7 luminaries, those people from before. I heard that they were all killed, so that guy called Granbel is still alive. Nicholas said that he has sent him 6 feet under, but that strange man has led the Western Holy Church for over hundreds of years. It wouldn't be strange if he had managed to escape his certain death. Maribel seemed to be the caster of the Desire skill. There was also the great elder Granbel Rosso, no, the head of the 7 luminaries, Gran. I see, if Granbel really was this monster that had lived for hundreds of years, then the likelihood of him dominating the council was very high. So, Gran is behind all this. It must be him. He's probably manipulating powerful individuals such as Maribel, in an attempt to achieve something. We ignored Glenda at this point, and began to share what information each of us had our hands on. The answer to the mystery was almost out. Glenda had no more value to us. I didn't say anything. How come you all know so much? What kind of joke is this? Isn't this the same as me revealing everything? What bad luck. I can only say that you have met too strong an opponent. Wisdom King Raphael-san is ridiculously competent. It's not someone you can hope to rival. Even if you think that way, it can't be helped. That's okay, Glenda. You meet at traitor's end, and deservedly so. If this continues, I'm gonna die. Glenda moaned, her face now shen. I started to feel bad for her. I didn't really plan to kill her. I was thinking about handing her to the kingdom of Ingratia after getting the information, but surely, she would be executed now. I thought Glenda would be able to escape, but seeing how scared she was, the person pulling her strings must have been very powerful. Is this Maribel really that strong? I asked out of curiosity. That's not the issue. Summoned ones like us are shackled by a curse that prevents us from disobeying. Therefore, if our summoners thought that we had betrayed them, they would crush our souls. That will be my end. That's just. So, you weren't betraying Luminous Sama out off your own free will, it's just that you can't disobey. About that, it's more complex than you think. I wanted to beg for mercy from God, but Granbel Sama's eyes were sharp and saw everything. To be honest, I had no choice. Hearing this, I felt an inkling of sympathy towards Glenda. Hinata was still glaring at her coldly, but her fury didn't appear as intense as before. Her killing intent seemed to have subsided. Indeed, there is no use seeking refuge in God, either. People with their souls shattered cannot be resurrected. So Hinata has her kind side as well. Even though she still seemed cold, she was actually thinking about ways to save Glenda. I wonder, could I unbind the curse? Answer. No problem. Do you wish to lift it? Yes, no. Here we go. And so, we undid the curse with ease.